How much training do you need before you can take a firearm, put it on your body, and go out into a public space prepared to defend yourself or others in the community? Well, a lot of people will tell you that you only need as much training as you get to be able to put this little plastic card in your wallet, or maybe some other little plastic card in your wallet. Some people will probably tell you that it's your right in this country to carry a gun, to have a gun, to be prepared to defend yourself or your family, and that your right to keep and bear arms is already guaranteed by the Constitution and you don't need any training. Well, yes, on a technical level, those people would be right. The Constitution does give us the right to keep and bear arms for the defense of the country, and of course implies the right for each one of us to be able to defend ourselves and to have those guns in our home or on our person and carry them around. Also, the people that tell you that technically that right has been restricted or controlled in most states under an organized way that allows us to go get a card that tells us that we can officially and legally carry that firearm in that state, and then we might have reciprocity with other states. Many of those states have specific requirements for training that allow you to get the card to put in your wallet. But as someone who spends most of their time teaching people how to defend themselves or others, and a significant amount of time teaching them specifically how to use firearms on ranges just like this, whether it's in a few hours, over the course of a day, or on a multi-day course, I'm pretty convinced that most people need a lot more training than they get from reading the Constitution, or certainly that they get from a state-issued plastic card. Those things are there to guarantee our right and our access to firearms, our ability to get the firearm and have the firearm when we need it. But it's your responsibility to get enough training to make sure that you're competent enough to do it as well as you reasonably can. Now, I'm sensitive to the fact that not everyone has unlimited training resources to spend on training. You may not have the opportunity to take the time off of work to get yourself to a class that I or one of the other PDN contributors are running somewhere in the country. You may not have the funds to be able to afford to go to the training that we provide or to one of the high-dollar schools that you can travel to and spend 2, 3, 4, or 5 days training at. But the reality is you have some level of training resource to spend on training. Just the simple fact that you're watching this video tells me that you have some interest, that's motivation, that's an important training resource, and that you have some level of time. You can watch videos like this. You can spend time on the internet reading articles or watching other training videos. Maybe you can go buy a few extra 100 rounds of ammunition and get some practice in based on what you've learned. Maybe you even can't afford to go to a professional trainer that specializes not just in shooting, not just in target shooting specifically, not in competition shooting, and not that just specializes in making sure you can have the little plastic card in your wallet, but truly specializes in making sure that you are as efficient as possible given that expenditure of resources, time, effort, money, energy, ammunition, and access to a range as you can be and as prepared as possible to defend yourself or others in that worst case scenario. And don't forget, it's not just about the shooting. A lot of it has to do with getting the gun into the fight in the first place, making sure that you understand what the body's natural reactions to startle are, making sure that you're integrating those and your preferred carry method into your presentation from your holster and out to your shooting position. Making sure that you understand the dynamics of a threat situation, making sure that you understand what pre-contact cues are, when you can use the firearm, when it's appropriate to draw the firearm, and developing a counter-ambush response so that you can get the firearm into action when you go directly from having no idea that there's a possible threat to being under attack and being in the middle of a fight with no warning whatsoever. The responsibility to train is yours. Don't wait for the government to say that you need it. Don't wait for your friends to tell you that you need to go with them to the range. Don't wait for someone like me to show up and say, hey, here I am. I'm at your house. Jump in the PDN truck. We're going to the range to train. Because it's very likely that none of those things will ever happen. If you're going to take on the responsibility to defend yourself, then meet that responsibility with proper training. It doesn't have to be the kind of thing that you spend money on. It can just be an investment of time, critical thinking, and then getting to the range and actually putting that practice into play with a live fire firearm with actual training ammunition. While it may be your right to have a firearm and to carry that firearm to defend yourself, you need to meet your responsibility to train. It's a great misconception and a big myth to think that all you need is the plastic card in your pocket or an understanding of constitutional law to truly be prepared to defend yourself, your family, or others with a firearm in the worst case scenario.